Making your way through work Monday takes everything you got. Then Monday night rolls around and you realize there's a shot. You're only 10 points away. All those times when your team had no fight, they're just so gosh darn frail. Then your star quarterback let another deep ball sail, and your third round pick bet on his team. Then go check out our streets where everybody knows your game, and they listen to complaints. You wanna be where you can see our bodies bring you no shame. You wanna go where everybody knows your pain.
Welcome into another edition of the Dad Bod Fantasy Squad. I'm Rob, and I'm here with the one and only Mudcat and Alex. What's going on, boys?
Hey.
Hola.
How we doing?
Getting the group back together a little bit. We haven't done this one in a while, so I'm excited for it.
Yes, sir.
Cody, how have you been, dude? I haven't talked to you in a little
I'm
bit.
doing good. Yeah, I'm doing good. I feel like it has been a couple weeks, just kind of falling that way.
Couple weeks. Yeah, we're switching up the rotation, trying to get different guys on different episodes, getting the cohesiveness together with everybody. So this will be a fun season. I'm excited. We're switching things up a lot, and tonight we have another fun episode. Last night we did our part 1 of QBs 1 through 12 of our personal rankings and kind of arguments on who's too high, who's too low. We're going to keep that theme going. Same 1 through 12 QBs with us this episode, and we're going to kind of debate some of these QBs we have high and low. We have some news and a game that I'm super excited to get you guys on, a little trivia NFL game.
I like game.
That should be fun. I'm excited to see how this goes. And we will get in. Let's get into some news. Frank Reich says Laviska has some Debo ability to him. Cody, are you buying the hype on Laviska in Carolina?
Been burnt too much on Laviska. I'm out because I believed all of that to be true for the last 3 years. I'm done.
Dude, me too. I was in on him last season. I had him on a couple teams, and
why?
It's just I feel like every season we have the same combo.
It turns out he's not good at football.
Yeah,
because there's one play a season he'll bust one for like 90 yards, and you're like, oh man, that's awesome. Like, let's keep this going. But don't roster him.
Here's where I came to, because I did some diving on Laviska like last year at this point when I was like, okay, what's the story here? Because you do see those traits. Hey, he's a playmaker with the ball. He's big bodied. He can run the ball. He can catch the ball. He's one of those utility tools. Debo's a good example. He's slower than I thought.
He's a lot.
He's like a 4.6. He's like a 4.6 guy.
Yeah.
Which doesn't always work that well in a gadget player.
Maybe that's it. What's Debo's? I'm curious now.
4.4.
Might even be sub 4.4. Yeah.
Okay. Now that you bring that up, that's interesting that he's not as quick as that makes sense.
4.48, which is fast, but not crazy fast. So he's not really faster.
Laviska is like a C- version of Cordell Stewart. I hate the Debo comparison. I'm like, compare him to what he's really close to.
Yeah, he's more Cordell. That's a good call. For sure.
Honestly, he should try to be Cordell Patterson. I actually think that's a role that Laviska could be better in. Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
That you can use in some weird ways still, but you don't have to utilize the speed.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I like the Cordell comparison. That might
Cordell
make
is really
sense.
fast though too, but
he is. But if you put him
32-year-old Cordell.
30. Yeah, there you go.
I feel
Atlanta
like
Cordell.
32-year-old Cordell is probably still faster than Laviska.
You could be right.
Put him on the line. Tom Brady says that he won't come out of retirement. There's a lot of rumors swirling around with this whole Jimmy G scenario going on since he bought ownership in the Raiders. Now, yada yada. But I know for a fact that if you do own ownership, you can't come and play. If I'm not mistaken, that's in the rules. But Alex, obviously, do you ever see him coming out of retirement again?
No.
Swan song.
I wanted to say hi, Alex. Can I say hi?
Yeah, bring her in.
No, I don't see it coming back. There's no point. The Bucks aren't what they were. There's not a team out there that's an ideal situation.
Well, it'd be him to come play for the Raiders.
Yeah.
If Jimmy G gets cut.
If he gets cut, I mean, that's still a bad situation.
Yeah.
It was
That's
a
the
better
biggest thing, is
situation
I
at
can't
the
see him-
Bucks.
Yeah, I can't see him coming out for that.
Mm-mm.
Like, if I don't know, I know this has been the big talked about thing, but if something catastrophic happened to Tua or had happened to Tua, that makes way more sense to me than the Raiders.
Yeah. That's a.
But it's not happening either way.
I don't see it.
I wonder if he could own part own one team and play for another. That would be
No
so
way. Because I know,
That'd be
like,
wild.
This isn't the
that was-
tropics. Like,
that'd be hilarious though.
because
Will
it is.
Ferrell's not the quarterback.
I don't know the rule in the NFL, but in the NBA, I'm pretty sure you can play and be an owner, but you got to play for the team you own. Like,
For
I think
sure.
MJ.
Yeah,
ran
it make
into
more
that.
sense. Yeah.
Because I think
MJ did it. Baseball, it's happened.
Yeah. Todd Bowles says that a top priority for him is to get Mike Evans a little bit more involved in the end zone work, especially after his down season last year. Cody, are you buying into this? Are you buying into it with the quarterbacks that are there?
Yeah, I think fundamentally it could be true. I think fundamentally Todd Bowles believes that his quarterbacks aren't going to be able to do it. That's just the reality.
Alex?
I think that they will be down enough to they will be throwing a lot regardless of the situation. I think who takes a hit is the running backs, not the receivers. I think Godwin and Mike Evans both can have good years.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm just down on that whole offense.
What do you qualify as a good year for those guys? Tell me what you kind of think.
Fantasy
Fantasy
wise,
wise,
hits 1,000.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. Evans gets 1,000 over 6 TDs. Godwin gets around the 1,000 mark, 100 catches, 5 TDs, 6 TDs.
So that might land them both 24 to 36, probably closer to 24.
Yeah.
Maybe
I mean, I think
ish.
Mike Evans is a wide receiver too.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd put him like 24, but
I don't see it this year.
he's just, dude, he's too good. Like, that's the thing. He's too good.
He wasn't last year.
The entire team had lots of issues. It's like, it wasn't.
I mean, that's the question, right? Was it Evans lost a step, or was it the whole team as a whole sucked? But if you say that, this team's gonna suck.
I don't think
you're going from Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield. I don't see it improving.
They're not going to be good. They're not going to be good.
And I know Lenny's lost it, but I'm not a Rashad White guy either, so I don't know that they really have a running game. I mean, I just don't see it.
Yeah, and they threw the ball for over 700 times. Like, that's coming down to like 550. So all those targets. I mean, I don't know. I'm not buying that train at all.
They probably end up throwing the ball close. I mean, I would say at least 550.
550. I'm fine with that, but going from 750 to 550.
I think it'll be over 600 passes.
That's
there's
with those quarterbacks.
They're not going to run the ball if they're down all the time. Like, I'm just being honest. Bad teams do throw the ball a lot. That does happen.
Yeah, but when you're going 3 and out every offensive drive, like,
I think there's enough talent at receiver that it'll make better plays out of bad plays. And, so they are still 2 elite wide receivers. I get the QB is a problem, but they're still 2 elite wide receivers, and that will make a bad QB look better.
Here's my struggle with it. I think you got to pick your guy you like, because I don't think I see 2,000-yard receivers with these quarterbacks personally.
I agree.
And so if you like Mike Evans, that's fine. Yeah. It'll be Godwin for me, because I just don't know that these quarterbacks can get it to Mike Evans down the field.
I'm with you, Cody. I'm 1,000% with you.
Evans, 100%.
Yeah, I just think Godwin's the younger receiver, 2 years off the ACL. He's good, and I think Evans might have lost a step. I really do.
We need to get a few bets going for this year. Alex, you want to throw a Godwin versus Mike Evans straight up?
Yeah.
I like that.
They both, well, I guess Godwin gets. I was going to give you an injury clause, but I guess I would want the injury clause, so I'll just throw it out. I can live without it. I think they could both get hurt.
You could do points per game. Points per game, each got to play 10.
I don't care. What's the bet?
Let's just say they got to play. Let's say
ice cream cone.
Well, dollar cones. I do dollar cones.
Okay,
yeah, dollar cone bets.
All right,
I think they're $1.99 cones these days.
Yeah, they went up. Inflation's a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
I'll
kid
do
doesn't
that.
get ice cream anymore.
No, dude, I'm high on Mike Evans this year. I really am.
So let's
I'm
say,
not like super high, but I'm
say-
high. I'm high.
Yeah.
I'm definitely.
Let's just
high
say
on it.
total points minimum of 12 games. Is that fair?
That's fair. It's very
I like
fair.
that. I like it. Last piece of news: Brock Purdy has started throwing. Alex, I'll kick this to you. Are you anticipating him starting week 1? And if so, what's going to happen with like Trey Lance?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's starting. I mean, it's.
Do you think it's an open competition?
No. I think that the excitement that they that they had at the end of last season, and kind of how he played in general, they're not looking for Brett Favre. They're not looking for, they want somebody who's not going to make a ton of mistakes, and that can make plays every once in a while. Just they don't need an elite QB, and they know that Purdy can be solid enough and mistake free enough to where I think he gets the job.
Cody, anything to add on that?
I think 2 QBs start a significant amount of games for this team this year. I don't know which 2 it is yet, but I think 2 QBs start for this team this year.
I could see it.
And here's
every year.
I don't want to. Well, yeah, and I don't
year.
want to go. I don't mean to like get us off on a tangent on this, but here's the thing with Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was really fun and it was really cool, and I don't think Brock Purdy is a bad quarterback. I don't know that Brock Purdy is the answer, and I think they're going to decide that partway through the year. And you're just going to see what you can figure out.
I get where you're coming from with that. Let's get into the game, everybody. We're going to do a Connect 4 style game. We'll see how quickly this goes. It might be Connect 3 just to keep the game moving. But let's get into it. I'm kind of excited here. So we'll have Cody go first on the first question. You'll be yellow. Alex, you'll be red. Let's get the first game going. So which team is the only community-owned franchise in the NFL?
This is perfect. You're not going to believe this. I don't think either of you know this about me, because this team is actually owned by Mudcat, the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Wow. And we are correct.
Was this a raise your hand thing, or was this just
no? Well, so you'll be next. You'll be next.
Right.
If you guys need owners meetings tickets, let me know.
I like it.
That's hilarious.
Alex, we're going to get you on the second question here. I am driving blind right now, everybody, so I can't see you guys. Okay, we're good.
Okay.
We're good. No, we're good now. All right. No, we're not. Which team has lost 5 Super Bowls?
Bills.
Oh, back that boy up. Sorry. Bills is incorrect.
What?
It's the Broncos. Bills have 4.
I was actually going to guess the Cowboys.
Bills have 4.
Okay.
So we'll go here. Which city did the Rams originally play in?
So here's the thing. I know they're the St. Louis Rams, but I don't know if they were never Cleveland. Well, they were never Los Angeles before. I don't know if that was the original, if that makes sense. Obviously, I know they were the St. Louis Rams. I'm going to go St. Louis, but I could be a little sneaky surprise here.
St. Louis
sneaky
is
surprise.
Wrong. It is
sneaky
the
surprise.
Cleveland Rams.
You notice how I said that, and then I was like, wait, is that right?
Yeah.
Dang it. I should have known it was too easy. There was a sneak.
Yeah. Alex, we're coming over to you here. Which team has won the most Super Bowl titles?
Patriots.
Quick answer, and he is correct. Alex, where you want to go with your second piece here?
I get to choose?
You can choose. Yeah, we're playing Connect.
So which one did I win?
You won this one, 4. You won 4. So you can pick anyone you want.
I'll say it doesn't show that I won 4. It looks like it's 1F. I can't tell where it is.
F4. Well, do you want? I'll give you 4. We'll just We'll do it that way. Off to Cody. Who holds the record for the most career touchdown passes in NFL history?
I'll go Brady.
He's going Brady, everybody. And he's correct.
Peyton scared me a little there. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I had to pause. So
Yeah.
we'll give you 2 over here, Cody. Right next
Sounds
to your
great.
1.
Well, hold up. Is it Connect 3 or Connect 4? Because that's
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
4.
I could take it away.
Yeah.
Send
You
me
want
out.
this one?
Actually,
that one?
Yep.
Rob, you
Okay.
had it correct the first time.
I'll say that if it's Connect 4, that is not helping my case.
We're
that
moving
was
through
funny.
this pretty.
That
We're
was
moving
funny.
through this pretty good. So we'll do 4, or until we run out of questions. Who has the longest active playoff drought? Alex.
The Lions.
The Lions is correct.
Nice.
Great
Nice.
call.
A little bit of a Lions fan, right? Just a closet Lions fan.
I don't know. They've had good teams that have been
Yeah.
fun. Matt Stafford, Calvin Johnson, and Goff, and St. Brown. There's
that
been
duo
some
never
good
made
fun.
the playoffs at all, huh? amazing.
No, their
That's
defense.
amazing.
It's the same thing. They always have a terrible defense.
Yeah.
Next question for Cody. Who holds the record for the most receiving yards in a single season?
Ooh.
Calvin
Julio
Johnson, Julio
Jones.
Jones, Jerry Rice, or Randy Moss?
Going Julio.
Julio?
That's incorrect.
And it is
Dang it.
incorrect. The
That's
correct
incorrect.
answer
Is
is
it
Calvin
Calvin
Johnson, Megatron.
For some reason, I had in my head that Julio did it a few years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago.
I think he has the
Remember that?
third most.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a
Calvin
season.
and Jerry Rice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, Alex, on to you. Who has the most NFL MVP awards? Tom Brady,
don't know
Aaron
why.
Rodgers, Peyton
This is a
Manning,
good
or
one.
Joe Montana?
Peyton Manning.
And you are correct.
Nice. Is it
Alex
3?
takes the lead.
Yeah, let's go D4.
Is it 3 of them, Mark or Robbie?
I think it's
Do you know?
5.
We'll do 4. Connect 4.
No. How many
Oh.
MVPs?
I think it's
Oh,
5.
5. I'm sorry. 5.
He had 5 MVPs?
Yeah.
Dude, Manning was a dog.
Yeah, he had 5.
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Cody, which team won the
man.
first ever Super Bowl? Packers, Chiefs, Cowboys, or Jets?
So everything points to the Packers to me in terms of trophy name and the history. So I'm going to go Packers with a slight side eye at the Cowboys.
And
That was
he's
Packers.
correct. We're tied up here. I love it. This is
Can I'd like to go C4. I'm just joking.
yeah.
We'll play.
Give you the spot.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. I think we'll go to this one. Alex, where did Joe Montana play after he left the 49ers? He picks the Chiefs. And he's correct.
Darn it.
And he takes the W. You guys want to see the other question?
Make that yellow there. Yeah, let's see him. This is fun.
So we'll go Cody. Who has caught the most touchdown passes from Tom Brady? Wes Welker, Randy Moss, Rob Gronkowski, or Antonio Brown?
Wes was probably longer, but I guess it's Gronk.
Yes.
And he is correct. A lot of Patriots questions here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're great.
yeah, that's true. That does help Alex a fair bit.
He knows his history. What city did the Redskins play for before moving to Washington, D.C.? The now Washington Commanders. Boston, Toledo, Chicago, or Philadelphia?
Who's this to?
You.
It's you.
Oh, okay.
My bad. I thought you were just thinking. I can't.
Oh,
see you guys, so.
no. I'm probably wrong. I don't know this, but Boston.
I don't know it either. I'll say
Boston
Philly
is
fun.
correct.
Boston.
Isn't that interesting?
Nice.
I saw that one. I was like, I gotta throw it on.
Just
No,
short
I
one.
was like,
Fairly short.
I thought I was sitting there. I was like, who's gonna answer this?
One more, Cody. We'll throw it to you. How many teams played in the first season of
Ooh,
the NFL in
gosh.
1922? 20, 18, 24, or 28?
I'm going to go 20 because I feel like you never pick the low number, but I would have thought it'd be low. I'm going to go 20.
That is
No.
incorrect.
That'd be 18.
All right.
It's 18.
18.
It's 18.
Got too cute.
Got too cute. Got too cute. All right, boys.
That was fun. Thank you.
That was
Yeah,
fun.
that was a good idea.
Yeah.
That was fun.
I think we
Good
could do
job,
those. That was
Rob.
pretty simple. We could do a bunch of different trivia. We could do fantasy trivia, stuff like that. So
I like the fantasy trivia. That's a great idea. Yep.
Yeah. I think it was fun. I got to get my other PowerPoint up here, so bear with me here, boys.
Sure thing.
Let me delete this. All right. Now we're good. All right. We are going to get into. Oops. Let's take that off. We're going to get into some of our QBs. We'll start with Cody's squad here.
Yeah.
Cody's
you want me to rattle her off, Robbie?
Yeah, rattle them off for us, Cody.
Yeah. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, I'm probably going to flip these two all off season, but I have it Allen right now at 1, Patty at 2, Jalen Hurts 3, Joe Burrow 4, Herbie 5, Lamar 6, Fields 7, Deshaun 8, T-Law 9, Aaron Rodgers 10, Daniel Jones 11, and Dak at 12. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
So
I bet you guys do like it. I would like it if I were you.
Yeah, okay. Let's start with a question for Cody, since you're up first here. Alex, you got one for him?
Your boy Dak, Mr. Interceptions.
Mr. Interceptions. I like that.
Yeah. Dak at 12. Calling him out for it.
Yeah.
What's going on with that, man?
Yeah. I can't remember. I know you might have mentioned this lately. Where did you have him at? Was it 18? Just to get
I think I had him 18.
Yeah. So, Dak's a guy I liked a lot a few years ago, and the injuries have kind of gotten me off of him, but it's hard for me still to slide him out of the top 12. And the biggest thing is he just keeps doing it. And I know he's getting hurt, but he keeps landing here. Last year in points per game, he was 13th, which is obviously a spot lower than I have him. But in 21, he was 9th. In 2019, he was actually QB3. 2020, he only played in 5 games, but he was, I think, QB1 through those 5 games until he got hurt. So we've got a guy that over the last handful of years, while missing some, has found himself, to be fair, at QB3, 9, and 13. And then that shortened season, he was QB1 in 5 games. So, I just think he's a guy that's done it. I think he's a guy we know has a job. I think the weapons are good to me personally, obviously with CD, the addition of Brandon Cooks. I think with Zeke being gone and Tony Pollard being the bell cow, Tony Pollard's going to be great. But at the same time, I could see them still wanting to fling the ball. To me, that says that they haven't added a big name. Like, hey, we're comfortable with flinging this thing around a little bit. And so, it's just purely on volume. He's a guy that could touch real close to 5,000 yards this year to me. Not necessarily somebody I'm like chasing because the injuries scare me, if I'm being honest.
And that's 5,000.
Maybe. I mean, CD, Brandon, I don't know. I mean, it's good weapons. You still got Gallup on a big contract. Not to say that Gallup's a ton, but you got 3.
I mean, I was high on Gallup last year. Like, I was a fan. I just don't know what he's going to be like this year.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm super high on Dak personally this season as well. I think I have him 10th.
Yeah, you have him higher.
I moved him up recently. Cody, you hit on everything that I think about it. It's the addition of Cooks. I think the bigger tell for me is what you said about Tony Pollard. Them not bringing in another back, letting Tony Pollard kind of be the guy there. Even I still don't anticipate him having this like 200. I don't see him getting like 280 touches rushing, but I think he's going to rush enough, and I think he's going to be utilized in that pass game, and he is elite in the pass game.
Yeah, I think a lot of what you said, obviously, I tend to agree with there. You're totally right, Alex, on the interceptions. It's funny. I've gotten to a place in fantasy where I don't even look at the interceptions anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
a guy can throw throw 20. I don't care. It's, points wise, maybe we're talking 20 points negative over a replacement level.
It depends if you're -1 or -2 QB.
Either way, but even at -2, 10 extra picks is 20 points. I mean, maybe that slides you 2 spots at QB, but it's not gonna tank your season.
I mean, obviously, I have him in the range like he's a QB2 to me. Like, I don't think he's terrible, but I think it is going to be a season of too high of expectations. I think there's going to be too high of expectations for Cooks. I'm not saying Cooks can't be good. He has been good. I just don't know how much of a difference it makes. And new play caller.
Yeah. Yep.
And the line isn't what it was, 3 years ago was the best line in football. It's not that anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
I like Pollard, but I mean, it does worry me touches wise. Like, can he take the touches? Is he ready to be a full-time back?
Right.
But I don't think it's trash. I just don't see it.
Just not quite there for you.
No, not this year.
For me, one thing that I really did run into is there's a ton of guys between, let's say, 12 and probably 16. I will say my 12 through 16. I almost don't care. They're so interchangeable to me. So, like, when I look at my points that I haven't projected for, I've got Dak for 304, Jared Goff 298, Kirk Cousins 296, Tua 295, Geno 294. I mean, I got 10 points separating 6 guys. So, if somebody said, hey, slide him to 15 or 16, I actually wouldn't fight somebody. I do think you're a little low at 18 because, not even looking at your rankings, to get him at 18, you got to have somebody like I don't even know who it is. You'd have to have Jordan Love, Russ, Stafford, Richardson, one of those guys, some of those guys above him, which I can't get there. Yeah.
Yeah. If I knew you had him at 18, that would be my call out. That'd be my call out.
Well, there you go. I mean, kind of went over it. That's my bold pick is
it's a fun thing. Let's actually chat that. I'll see who it is that you've got. So it's definitely Russ. You've got obviously Russ quite high. So it's Russ and Jordan Love from that group that I routed off that takes you out of that top 16, which to me is a tier. For me, those 16 are a cutoff. I don't see it with Love. I just don't know if I see it with Love and Russ. I just see a way higher likelihood Dak pulls it off. What do you see with those two that has you pumping Dak below him?
Like at Russ? I mean,
well, yeah. I mean, those are two guys who are definitely a lot higher.
We'll talk about Russ. We'll talk about Russ. But what are you so high on Jordan Love that you have him over Dak?
Ooh, it's the rushing yards. I'm looking at it. That's interesting.
Running.
That's really interesting.
I mean, I just think he's going to move more. I think Prescott's moving around days are done. I agree with that. He's a pocket QB, and I don't know I think Prescott. I don't know how much of an increased touchdown wise he's going to have this year. I don't. He doesn't have Schultz. I think that's kind of important. The tight ends are, wishy-washy, and then you're banking on a rookie tight end, which I do think will be good. But there's a lot of unknowns. There's Cooks is a new addition, and Pollard's going to be full-time, and the line's not as good. And, the offensive play caller change. It's like there's a high likelihood that it's a mess.
There's one big solid piece that's staying put, baby. CD Lamb.
Yeah. He's going to get targets.
He's going to be I'm pumped.
Red zone. I think he gets highly targeted in the red zone. So
yeah, it's going to be a crazy season for CD.
Can I derail us for something that's gonna be something I have to talk about all off season, and I just can't wrap my head around it. And I noticed it on yours, Alex, but it's people across the board that you're not alone in any way. So this isn't to single you out, but I just happen to see it. The number of people that I see projecting Anthony Richardson for less than 100 yards a game passing blows my mind. I don't think this guy's going to light up the world, but how is he going to throw for 98 yards a game? And I know Brian was doing the same. It's like, okay, I think he's going to throw a ton of picks. I think he's going to mess up a ton. I don't know how you don't fall ass backwards into 100 yards a game.
They have him under like 1,700. So you're projecting him not playing the full 17?
Yeah.
That'd be the only thing.
Okay. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, this is my.
And I shouldn't have said it to you because for Brian, that was his actual 17 projection. Yeah. So you're different.
So that's that's not for the 17 games. This is me thinking they're going to want to bring Richardson, kind of along a little bit. I don't know if they want him to start on, week 1. So I think Minshew gets a shot. I honestly think he gets a shot, starting the season. So I think Richardson ends up right. I think he ends up taking the job probably around halfway through the season. So that's where I'm at. That's playing about half the season.
Okay.
How many
rushing
number
feels yards? A lot better.
I forget how much. I mean, a decent
amount. Because we got into this pretty big last night.
540.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
for like 8 games. So 500 for like 8 games.
That's a big number. You know, I've got him playing. Obviously, I'm higher than you because I've got him playing the entire season. But I've got him for under 800 on the year. I'm trying to be realistic.
I'd have him over 800 if he started 17.
Right. Yeah, I would too. Norton made some.
I think he runs
compelling. Norton made a lot of compelling points on why he thinks that if he plays 17, he'll be up over 850.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have him projected at like 920 if he plays 17, which is a lot. Like, don't get me wrong, but
it could be over 1,000, man. They could just be like, oh, do Justin Fields.
Yeah. Here's a reality. This is a reality of it when I was projecting. So I think he's going to play 17 games. And I actually found myself trying to back his stats down for my baseline because he first statted out for me as like QB 13. And I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this. And I almost had to handicap him to get him down to where I really wanted to see him. When you start looking at the numbers, it's like, ooh, this is tough.
Yeah. And you know, it's crazy. Well, just real quick too, while we were talking about rushing quarterbacks and stuff, we talked about it last night. Sam Howell ran for over 1,000 yards in a season in college. I saw that. I was like,
I didn't know
he ran for 1,000 yards in college in one season. You would think you got to kind of pump him up a little bit in the rushing category, at least to 400.
Yeah, didn't think about that.
I was looking up his stats from college, and I was like, what?
Are you sure that's not a mistake?
It's on PFF.
Because he ran a 5.0740.
Oh, well, then they're not.
He ran a Tom Brady 40.
That's like Baker Mayfield rushing QB.
Like, I have to triple check with other sources, but on PFF he had over 1,000.
Yeah. Okay. Tom Brady ain't running. That ain't happening.
Blew me for a loop when I saw it. I was like,
you saying it blows my. I mean, I'm with you.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's bonkers.
Let's keep it moving though. Let's get into my top 12. I read all these off yesterday, but there is a slight change. I have Patty Mahomes at 1, Jalen Hurts at 2, Josh Allen 3, Trevor Lawrence is up there at 4, Joey Burrow at 5, Deshaun Watson 6, Justin Herbert 7, Justin Fields at 8, Lamar Jackson 9, Dak Prescott I moved up to 10, Aaron Rodgers 11, and Daniel Jones at 12. Who's taking a swing, baby?
My first real quick swing. It was 1,000. It was 1,000 career rushing yards, but he did have a massive season. So partially
okay. Maybe, okay. So
what he had an 800, but in 3 years.
800.
He had 800, but in 3 years it was 1,000, which is weird to me because he played. I mean, played quite a few games.
Isn't it weird?
Years. Like he was a multi-year starter. Yeah. They just all of a sudden ran him his junior year.
I saw it and it threw me off.
Yeah. Yeah. Who do you want to hear from? You want to hear from me, Robbie? Because I got one that I like the player, but I just think you're getting the cart in front of the horse with Trevor Lawrence, man. I like him. This is not T-Law hate, but I don't know how you slide him ahead of. No, let's take out Herbert because Herbert had a bad year, so I'll toss Herbert. I'll even toss Justin Fields because you're like, well, he can't run it back. You got Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. I don't know how you're putting him ahead of any of those guys for me.
Yeah,
and
I spoke on
fight
Lamar.
Me on Lamar Jackson. I'll let you fight me on Lamar. Fight me on the other 4. Let's hear it on those 4.
Yeah. So I have him at 4. So I have him ahead of. I think the only one that you said was Joe Burrow.
Probably.
Joe Burrow is the one I have him ahead of. I just see some regression a little bit from Joe Burrow. I could be wrong, and again, I want to see Joe Burrow's weapons stay healthy for a full season. If Chase and T. Higgins can both of them stay healthy for 17 games, that dude could light it up. He could be QB1. No questions about it, but I haven't seen that happen. So until I do, it's tough to kind of catapult him to where I had it. And again, Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence, their rankings for me were so similar, like points wise, that super kind of interchangeable, but I love T-Law, so I had to bump him above Joey B. So coming off his career breakout season with a actual head coach in his second season instead of some throw-in head coach that had no idea what he was doing, throwing people out of practice, stuff like that. So finally had a good head coach, had his career season. He's gaining I don't want to say elite weapon because I'm not saying Calvin Ridley's elite, but a very good weapon that can play alongside Calvin Ridley, Evan Ingram, ETN. He finished 7th in attempts, 7th in completions, 8th in adjusted completion percentage, 7th in big time throw percentage. I see him taking a step forward in the second year of this offense. They're going to open the book up a little bit more. They gave him more weapons to utilize. Doug Peterson knows how to coach up quarterbacks. Look what he did with Carson Wentz. I mean, he's just a very, very good coach with a quarterback. If T-Law, all I think he's got to bring up is his average depth of target, which I believe he came in at 17th or under 8 yards per attempt, or under 8 yards on his average depth of target. With Ridley coming in, I think that jumps up to over 8, which will get him into like top 10 category. If he can get into like top 10 average depth of target, bring up his touchdown percentage just a little bit. And again, I think Calvin Ridley is going to help that out. Let Christian Kirk and let Evan Ingram kind of get more one-on-ones, be open in the field more. Calvin Ridley, we know, is a deep threat. Like if T-Law is throwing the ball deep downfield, getting a little bit extra touchdowns, which it's hard to project that. But with that addition, I think it opens up the field completely for Ridley, for Ingram, and for Christian Kirk. I'm all in on him, and I understand the Joey Burrow like argument, but I don't see why this dude can't finish at least top 5.
I just think neither of them are rushing quarterbacks. I think T-Law had 5 rushing TDs last year. I don't think that's repeatable.
Run a little bit more.
He's surprisingly, so I think his rookie season, he had over 350 rushing yards. That's not terrible if he can get up there again.
I think he was outside of the top 10 in attempts and yards last year. So they're not wanting to run him. So I can't really give him that.
Which is fine, but he was still up over he was 280. I think he had 280 rushing yards, which isn't terrible.
Yeah.
291.
Yeah. So
yeah, but I mean, yeah, I'll give it to you. I mean, there's 15 or 20 guys that rush for more than 200 yards, so I'm not giving him a prize for that.
No, but he can do. Like, would I be surprised if he ran for 350, 400 yards? No, I wouldn't, because he can do it.
I'd be a little surprised.
He's a beast.
For me, I'd be a little surprised. I think I look at last year and I look at your stat line you have for him. And where I really struggle is, I know they brought in Calvin Ridley, but you've got a something like 25% touchdown increase, maybe more than that. You've got a probably 15% yardage increase. You've got 40 more attempts built in. It's a whole lot of big leaps for me.
So the
yardage all got to happen to make it come together.
So just going off of what you said, I love when you bring it up. I love it. So the touchdown percentage, yardage percentage was based off of my jump in attempts. So I think they're going to go from 580 to around 620.
620. Yeah, 40 more-ish. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, again, I'm just fully sold on the evolution of T-Law becoming an elite quarterback. Doug Peterson, I believe, is going to see that and utilize him in that way. ETN's not. I mean, you're not going to give ETN 30 touches. You're not, and you have a rookie running back. Tank. I mean, I get it. You brought Tank Bigsby, but if this team can go to where I think they're going to go offensively, because I really think they have a ton of talent, and if T-Law can just make that leap, where I truly believe he can. I mean, when he was coming out of college, we were talking about him in the same breath as Peyton Manning coming out, right? Like, he was the best quarterback prospect we've seen since Peyton Manning. And I think everybody's just forgot that. I really think
I'm on the same train.
The rookie season, I think the rookie season put such a stench on Trevor Lawrence. And for me, I can't put that on him. I put that on Urban Meyer 1,000%.
Yeah,
he wasn't prepared. If anything, it was like a redshirt freshman year for him. Like, he got used to game speed a little bit. I look at last year as kind of his rookie season, where he had a head coach that knew what he was doing, and he looked unbelievable. He was QB6. I just see him taking one more step forward and becoming in that same vein as Joe Burrow, as passing wise, right? I'm talking about passing. Like, I can see him becoming that Joe Burrow, that Justin Herbert type of arm talent that we're going to be talking about next season.
I think that's a fair statement. And what I kind of learned even talking this through, because I think I feel all the same things about Trevor Lawrence. I think I probably just don't think this offense is quite there compared to those other teams for me personally. And that's probably part of what jades me.
That's all I'm thinking. Do you think this offense in this team is any better than it was last year.
With Calvin Ridley edition.
Yeah, and I'm not big on the Calvin Ridley thing. I don't personally think you can take this kind of time off football. That's just my take on it. It may be marginally better, but I think this team drastically overperformed last year compared to expectations. And so the only reason I bring that up is even if it's marginally better, I don't know that it means this massive statistical jump from where they were last year, because I think you really saw
things
need
to be massive together. Though. Like for
it needs to be pretty big. I mean, you're talking a 25-30% jump on touchdowns. You're talking 700 more passing yards. That's big.
25 to what? 32.
Yeah, I mean 7 touchdowns over 25. 25%, maybe a smidge more. Yeah.
Which
on 40 attempts.
It's
only 40 attempts more.
He was QB6 last year, right?
12 in points per game.
I think he was 8th points per game.
Maybe I'm off on that, but I believe he was.
But for me, I mean, so if we're doing points per game to get him near 5, I don't think it's a huge jump. I think it's an improvement, a slight improvement, and I do think the team has slightly improved.
I think he was 8 straight up, Robbie, in 12 points per game. Am I crazy on that?
I think he was 6th and 8th. I'm not mistaken. I could
do a little double check for us there, Alex. Yeah. Maybe you can sway me. I'm
pull that up on Sleeper. Give me the.
I was like, I'm not.
It also depends. I mean, it also depends on your kind of league built-in points, because there was a jumble of players kind of right there.
Sure.
He was just QB 8 both last year, standard PPR.
Well, yeah, but so he was 8 in straight up, and I'm pretty sure he was 12 points per game then.
Yeah. Almost 18 points per game. It doesn't show.
Again, it's just
it's a big jump. It's a big jump.
Yeah. So for me,
I can give you like, hey, I think the offense is going forward, but I think it's got to be recognized. It's a big leap.
Yeah, and I'm wholeheartedly, I'll own that. It's built into.
I think it can happen.
This was built into like, he's my guy I'm going for this year. Like last season I was talking about Tony Pollard, and I had those guys that I was ready to die on a hill for. Trevor Lawrence is my guy this season in the quarterback room. Him and Deshaun Watson are kind of the two that I'm pounding the table for. I just personally,
you better be drafting all the Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. Well, I'm higher on Christian Kirk than I am on Calvin Ridley this season. So,
but where does Christian Kirk go from last year? He had a fabulous year. I mean, unless you think he's wide receiver 5.
Well, I'm just saying higher. I'm saying higher than Calvin Ridley. I'm not saying he's higher
than last year
over year.
Okay.
Yeah.
But somebody's got to get it, is what I'm getting at. Somebody's got to take a big leap. If T-Law's taking this big leap, you got to put it somewhere.
Well, I think you have Christian Kirk being somewhat about where he was last season. You bring in Calvin Ridley, who can be like in fantasy football. I have him, or fantasy wise, I think I have him at wide receiver 20. So that's pretty high. Good. You know what I mean? If you have a wide receiver,
I can live with that.
A wide receiver 13, 14, and a 20, and then you add in a top 5 tight end with Evan Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where, and I also think ETN. Personally, I think ETN gets more involved in the pass game, which will help everything out.
Ingram's
Don't tell that to Mario.
I told him. I traded for him.
Ingram's a beast. Don't doubt Ingram. So good.
No, I mean, I agree that
he's so good.
He is. I think he's good. I just don't know where you think he goes from here. That's where I'm still struggling. Like, he had like 800 yards last year. What do you think he's going for? 14.
I mean, but
Ingram.
Oh, and he also
these guys all
overperformed.
That's what I'm getting at. They all overperformed expectations, and now we got to make them take another 25% leap. It's hard for me.
I get where you're coming from. I get that, but don't you think, put in the right position, you kind of get I don't think Evan Ingram ever had a Trevor Lawrence with a Christian Kirk never. Christian Kirk wasn't utilized.
Eli
in the right
Manning
way.
was his best.
You know what I mean? Like, Christian Kirk wasn't utilized in the right way. Evan Ingram wasn't utilized in the right way. Like, look at what they're doing with him out there, splitting him out wide. He was technically just a slot receiver last season. I think he ran like 70% of his routes out of the slot.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, like, I think Doug Peterson is just such a great offensive mind and knows how to utilize.
I agree totally. I agree.
Utilize the talent around him. And if Trevor Lawrence is what I personally think he is, and how we spoke of him coming out of college, like, look what he did with Carson Wentz. Like, he made Carson Wentz look like he was an MVP candidate.
Yeah.
Until then, Doug Peterson wasn't there, and the dude can't even throw. He doesn't have Doug Peterson. He can't throw the ball. Like, could it have been his knee? Yeah, it could have been the injury and stuff like that. Yeah. But I think Doug Peterson was a big factor.
A part you're super right about, and I love that you mentioned it, is one bad rookie year from T-Law and everybody bailed.
Dude, I got him.
You're totally right.
Superflex startups, like he was going top 5. That's his rookie season, he was going like top 5. I got him in the second round of a Superflex startup, and I'm thrilled about it.
I don't get how people aren't.
Oh, you mean right now? You did, yeah.
No, it's after his rookie season. I got him second round, I think, in one of the startups.
It's funny. I think I'm hyped for him. That's probably where I'm struggling, because I don't feel like I'm a T-Law hater. I feel like I'm hyped, but dude,
he's one of the best prospects, like out of high school, out of college, and he perform. Like,
yeah, totally.
He's that good. Like,
yeah, that's,
to me, top 5 is very realistic.
I think that's my biggest argument.
Yeah, he could be Justin
for T-Law.
He's supposed to be
my
better
biggest
than
argument
Justin
for T-Law is like he was that uber, like the best prospect we've seen in a decade.
Yeah,
put into a terrible position, and it's not his fault. And then you get him with a good coach, and look what he did last season.
Progress.
And I'm just looking for that. I think that jump's coming where it's gonna be like, okay, this is the Trevor Lawrence we all thought was coming out of college.
Well, really, you're at a point saying, hey, he is Joe Burrow now, or he is. I think Herbert's another good one. You said,
yeah,
he's in that.
I think that's where we're going to be talking.
Not running quarterbacks, but elite passers.
Yeah, 100%. Alex, let's get into your top 12 QBs for this season.
1, Patrick Mahomes. 2, Josh Allen. 3, Joe Burrow. 4, Jalen Hurts. 5, Tree Law. Trevor Lawrence. 6, Deshaun Watson. 7, Justin Fields. 8, Justin Herbert. 9, Russell Wilson. 10, Lamar Jackson. 11, Kirk Cousins. 12, Daniel Jones.
I know we're going to talk about Mr. Limited. Mr. Limited.
You talking about Dak Prescott?
We are going to talk about Russell Wilson. Russ is coming off arguably his worst career season as a pro. I understand the coaching issue that was there, but like, let's not forget that Russ handpicked this coach and said, this is the offense that I want to run. Didn't look good in it. Peyton coming in, yeah, I understand that's huge for him, but do you think we're kind of blinded by what Russ did in Seattle? And maybe he's just not that good. Like, look what Pete Carroll did last season with Geno Smith, who has been kind of everywhere in the NFL and never found a home. He goes to Seattle as a top 5 fantasy football quarterback. And Russ looks like he's just not good at all.
I wouldn't say he didn't. Like most of the year, I'll agree he looked really not good and bad. He did have some games where he looked solid. And I do think having an actual coach, a Hall of Fame coach, Sean Payton, I think Russ, regardless of what offense he wants to run, whatever Sean Payton tells him is the way he wants to run it, Russ Wilson's going to run it, and he's not going to have any complaints.
Yeah, he's got no say. Like,
he's got no say.
But when he came in there, like, we treated him like an MVP player. Handpick your head coach, dude. We want you to do it. And he did, and it didn't work out.
That rarely works, man. Not players aren't always great evaluators.
It's true.
They're not always good coaches. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just because Peyton Manning was Peyton Manning, he could be a terrible coach. Like, it can happen.
It's fair. That's fair. You're not concerned of what did he finish last year? He was what, QB
47.
How many games did he play?
Did you say 47? I'm not lying. 10 seconds in my head, I'm trying to count. I'm like, why are you even thinking this is real, Al?
Yeah, I mean, dude, he had
that actually was what happened.
He had 16 touchdowns, which is the lowest of his career. He had a 7.3 yards per attempt, which was second lowest of his career.
Yeah, this is his worst year.
Completion percentage was the worst of his career. It just you don't think he lost it at all. You're just like, it was the coach.
I don't think to that extent, man. I mean,
but you got him at what? What do you have him at 8?
Yeah, I think
at 8. Like, that's
I don't think
Russ.
What I'm saying is, like, I think there's no way it can be as near as it was last year. he still has the arm talent. He's fit. He's in better shape. He got little cleanup surgeries that he needed to get done. He needs healthy receivers, dude. You can't build chemistry with the team if your team's never healthy. And
do you think that changes this year?
I think line.
The same players, right?
Yeah, he needs to have a healthy Judy and a healthy Sutton and a healthy, Javonte. You have to have all of that. Because if not, I think
Javonte's not going to be healthy.
At some point,
yeah.
He could.
He's been at OTA some. He's been surprisingly early.
It's been. When did he tear it? Like September, August.
It was an ugly tear, though.
It was.
Yeah, but medicine's changed.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing on Russ for me. He really, from a fantasy perspective, regressed before in 21 as well as last year in Seattle. And so it's been a couple of years now since he's really been this QB9. So, maybe I think there's a chance he turns around. I think it's in the range of outcomes. I don't think it's like, hey, there's no way Russ is ever QB9 again. But I just think if I said what's his range of outcomes, it's 8 to 24. And so I struggle to say, like, why would I rank him there? Because I just don't know. I don't see.
Do you see him getting over 25 touchdowns again?
Yeah.
Well, I think he could get over 25 touchdowns. The part that's more alarming to me in terms of looking at Russ in the same way we did in Seattle is he's not going to rush for 500 to 800 yards anymore, or 500 to 700 yards.
No.
And so once you take that away, he's no longer Seattle Russ from a.
But how long ago was that when he ran for 800 yards? Probably his second year in the league.
I would guess it was 14, 15, 16, somewhere in there.
You pulling that up, Rob?
I'll get it in 2 seconds.
I'm pulling it up too. So he's been over 500 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and those were all in between 2013 and 2017.
He had 940 in 2014.
Right.
He had 561 in 2020, 451 in 19, but then you jumped down to 186. 186 and 20. He was. Okay.
I think that all jives. I think we've seen the fantasy production fall off since 2020, since he's essentially stopped running. Now, maybe Sean Payton tries to use him that way, but we see it with Joe Burrow and T. Law and these guys we're talking about. If they're not going to run, they've got to throw for 4,800 yards and 34 touchdowns. Not necessarily for QB9. Not for QB9, I guess. I'm talking more top 6.
Yeah.
But I don't see these prolific passing numbers that have to happen.
Let's think about it. How many rushing yards did Daniel Jones have last year?
Like 1,000.
Daniel Jones?
Maybe 780 or something like that. 1,000 was an exaggeration.
I think it was in
but he had a ton of rushing yards.
Yeah, so he I think it was in the 700s. Rob's going to double check. But
I'm pulling it.
His passing stats are terrible.
800. And he had 7 rushing touchdowns. Too.
And his passing was terrible. If you look at his passing stats, they're efficient, but they're not a lot of yards, not a lot of touchdowns. What I'm saying is Russ doesn't need to run for 800 yards. If he runs for 250 yards, a couple TDs, and throws
he's got to fling it then. And I just don't know that he still flings it. He's got to fling it.
I think
once that rushing's going, you got to fling it.
To be a top 10 QB, I think so. Do I think Kirk Cousins throws the ball better than Russell Wilson? I don't think so. I don't.
Yeah, see, I think Kirk Cousins has the yardage and touchdown advantage over him. I'm not talking maybe just pure arm, like that kind of thing, but statistically, I struggle to see an avenue where Russ comes up with more yards or touchdowns than Kirk Cousins.
He'd have to put up like a season like Trevor Lawrence did last year.
Oh, better than that.
Passing wise.
Because T-Law had 5 rushing TDs.
He did, but he only had 200-some yards, or around 300 yards, but Russ could fall backwards into 5 rushing touchdowns.
But here's the thing: we just T-Law was QB8, but it was because of other injuries. He was 12 in points per game, and so even what T-Law did last year with 5 rushing touchdowns still doesn't get him to QB9.
I think Russ. I still think he can fling it. I still think he's a very good passer of the ball. It was a brand new team, brand new coach, and a head coach. There was a lot of things that, right off the bat just was new, didn't work. With where it is now, you actually have a Hall of Fame coach. That is going to be.
Yeah, but you have Drew Brees. So Sean Payton's coming from having Drew Brees in a dome for half the year with Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
And Alvin Kamara, right? Was he there
before that,
whole
Marcus Colston. I mean, like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, but they don't have that.
But the offense made, I mean, like
in Denver. Like, and you're like,
Marcus Colston was like a 6th-round pick.
It's like, fine, but you could say the same thing about Tom Brady.
But
like, I mean, there's
really good players drafted in the
What I'm
6th
saying
round.
is Drew Brees and Sean Payton made players look better, just like the Patriots made players look better.
Do you think Russ is going to make Jerry? I mean, I can see Jerry Jeudy having a really, really good year. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think you're going to have a Michael Thomas type of performance from somebody.
No, I'm not expecting Michael Thomas. I'm expecting with a healthy Jeudy, a healthy Sutton. They have some other good, solid receiver. If Hamler's healthy, that could be solid. They drafted a guy like there's a lot. I don't think they're amazing, but I think they're a lot better than they were last year. And I think Russ is a lot better than he was last year. I don't think he's declined that much.
Okay. Cody, anything left on that?
No, a part of where I have to be careful not to be too jaded is I've got a lot of hate for the Denver weapons. And that's just putting it bluntly. Well, here's the thing. I think you probably remember, Rob, I think you and I had this discussion last year. And I said, you know what? I'm ranking both of these Denver receivers low. One of them is going to burn me, but I can't decide who it is. So I'm just not going to project it. And I tried to own like, okay, one of them is going to step up and prove me wrong. They didn't. Turned out they just weren't good. And so I'm struggling to like this offense. I am struggling to like this offense for me.
Mm-hmm.
And which if you like the offense, I mean, I know there's some here in the group that like the offense. You're not alone, Alex, in liking some of those receivers and those things. I don't
believe the hype of Jeudy that was
Jerry
there.
Jeudy was 25th last year.
I just think
15 games. He's electric when he gets the ball. I mean,
Peyton is just going to make it easier. Like, he's just going to dumb it down while being smart with it. Like, he's not going to get super crazy with it, and he's just going to run smart football, like good routes, good reads. To where Jeudy, I mean, Judy's a good route. I don't love Jeudy, but he's a good route runner.
It just blows my mind that
he could have a very, very good year. I don't have him ranked super high though.
It just blows my mind that like this was the guy Russ wanted.
Yeah.
Coming into it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's the quarterback or it's the offense he wanted to run, and they just is so weird. I'll never understand the argument. Like, he's just a bad coach. But Russ knew who he was and brought him in to run that offense. Like, what are we doing?
It's not a good evaluator of coaches.
Alex, any other honorable mentions?
I'm trying to think. What about Kirk Cousins?
We could tap on Kirk real quick and then we'll get out of here. I'm not super in on him this season. I think he'll have a somewhat okay year. He always does. He always performs decent. I just have some of these guys taking a step up, and I can't put him in my top 12.
It's hard to get him in there. I agree. I don't necessarily think he's taking a step back. I just think there's a lot of guys I like in that 10 to 16 range. I'm having trouble making that jockey around and work.
I think some of these younger players are going to take a step, like Daniel Jones will take a little bit of a step forward, and Justin Fields and Trevor, like all these younger quarterbacks are starting to come into their own, where I think that we're going to see a little bit of a jump, and I don't think Kirk's going to have that much of a jump from what we saw last season.
Yep.
Why are you so high on him?
I mean, I have him just a few spots ahead of you guys, but to me, I have him 11th. He's, I think, borderline top 10. It's just that offense is just – there's too many weapons. Here, we're going to make it to where you're going to have so many options with the ball. You don't have to be amazing. You just have to be above average, and it's going to make you look really good on film, and you're going to get good stats. Like, that's what it is. They're going to be loaded. They drafted another good receiver. They have Hawk. Like Cook is. I mean, who knows what happens with the running back situation? But if not, Kirk throws the ball more. And
I just can't, like, he threw 643 times. I can't see him throwing that much more. He had 29 touchdowns. He had 4,500 passing yards. Like, I can't see him moving forward from where he was last season, even though, like, I just don't see it happening. Because I don't see him throwing more than 650 times. Like, I can't buy that. I mean, not too many people do.
I think he could. I'm not going to say more, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities to replicate that.
Dude, Patrick Mahomes doesn't even throw 650 times. He's right there. I've got a
segue on this topic. Can I segue this?
Go ahead.
Say your final piece, but I want to segue on that. It's perfect.
No, that's just kind of where I'm at. You know, like I like him a lot, and I think he's going to finish kind of where he was last season, and he'll probably end up in the top 12 because a couple guys are going to get hurt. How this just always happens, and Kirk will play 17 games and be QB 11, QB 10, and we'll be talking about him the same way we are next year. But he's never. I don't know. I'd rather project the other guys, the full 17, and be like, okay, I'd rather have him over Kirk, and then something happens, I'll go get Kirk on the waivers because someone's going to get bored and drop him.
All right, segue time. I wish I'd been called out on this player, and I need 30 seconds on this one. You guys know, you talk about you can't replicate 650. What a crazy number. It's more than Patty. You know who threw 700 times last year?
Tom Brady.
Other than Tom Brady?
Hold on. Tom Brady threw like 750. Justin Herbert threw 699 times. He had a career high completion percentage. He threw for 4,700 yards. He had a career low interception percentage. The only thing that dropped off is touchdowns. Touchdowns are the flukiest thing in fantasy football. He was absolutely. What do you think the other one is? Yards per attempt.
Yes, but with 700 attempts, it didn't matter. He had the yards.
Yeah.
So for fantasy, you just need the yards. So,
I have him.
Let me hit one last thing there.
Go ahead.
When you threw for 38 touchdowns, 31 touchdowns in 2020, and your pass attempts go up, that's a fluky TD drop, especially when you have a running back who makes his hay catching the football, not running the football. This guy is a locked and loaded fantasy stud this year, in my opinion. I'm going to own a ton of them, and everybody's underranking him.
No,
you're talking about Justin Herbert?
Justin Herbert.
Well, where do you have him at?
4 or 5 maybe.
You got him at 5, but Cody, I'm 1,000% in agreement with you. If you look at all his underlying metrics from last season, they were unbelievable. Like least amount of turnover worthy percentage plays, like least amount of.
He was fabulous other than touchdowns.
Dude, he was, and he did it with a super banged up offensive line and no receivers.
He was missing his wide receiver 1 all year.
He was missing half his receiving core half the year. Like
everything lines up for a fantasy exploit. And touchdowns, we talk about it. Touchdowns are the flukiest thing in football. You can't hardly project.
I actually like him at
original rankings. I had him at 3. Original rankings.
I'm keeping him at 8. I think Keenan Allen's washed. He's washed.
No,
and Mike Williams is. I like Mike Williams, but I don't think he stays healthy. I don't. I think people are going to start playing to Eckler more. I really don't think. I think Justin Herbert is still a top 10 QB. I don't see him top 5 this year.
Herbert could finish top 3 this year, in my opinion. I could really see it.
Yeah, he could. He has all the talent.
But he's one of the handful that could do it.
So here's what's interesting. I actually don't feel like your and I's stat line is that much different, Alex. Let me compare. I probably got him for a little more yards because I think the yards pop back up a bit with those 700 attempts. Not the 4,700.
I still have him as a top.
I
still have him QB 8. Like I still think he's really good. I just don't see top 3.
You have him 2.5 points out of QB 6, so it's tight.
My bunch from Trevor Lawrence to Lamar is very slim. Like it's very close. All those guys, like they're all interchangeable, and I really could see, dude, everything you said about Herbert I've seen, and I'm like, man, if he falls far enough, he's an easy snag for me in like the 4th, 5th round of a redraft.
Yep. So here's a funny thing, Alex. You have him projected for 1 more point than I do. So it's really not we totally agree on Herbert. You just see bigger things than me for a couple guys that slid ahead. So it's not actually that you're sliding Herbert down statistically. You're, if that makes sense, which isn't a bad thing. It's just interesting. We see Herbert the same way. You just see a little something juicy in a couple others.
Yeah, I think after, to me,
honestly, T-Law
frozen Cody.
He's super
beautiful
frozen.
Photo of him.
Looks like Han Solo right now. Solo.
Yeah, everything he was saying about about Herbert, I completely agree with. I'm in on him this season. I'm probably gonna own a lot of them.
Not in leagues with me.
I think he goes. People are gonna draft him somewhere between 4 and 8. I think that's where.
I'm excited in auction drafts to have him for $12. That's what I'm excited for.
How much? $12?
Yep.
You think it goes that low?
Yep. Because I think it's going to be QB 7 or 8 on board. He's higher than that.
He's the super flex darling this year.
That'd be a well spent $12. That's a
Thrifty
bargain.
Spending over here. Thrifty.
Yeah.
Robbie, go get your T-Law. Leave my
alone. I will go. We'll fight it out. We're going to get out of here, guys. Thanks for having a great episode. If you guys don't follow us on Twitter, it's at Dad Bod FS, at YouTube, Dad Bod Fantasy Squad, Twitch, Dad Bod Fantasy Squad. I'm going to upload this audio to Spotify, iTunes, Apple, all the Alex.
All of
Cody.
Check out TikTok. Robbie Mario killing it.
We're trying. For Alex, for Cody, I'm Rob. Peace.